Fantasy Rap
with Austin and Ozzy.
Oh, I just love those boys.
Hey everyone, this is Fantasy Rap, and I'm your host Ozzy.
And I'm your co-host Austin.
You can find us on fantasyrap.com. That is fantasywrap.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the follow-up to week 3. I don't know if from a defensive perspective,
Yeah.
It was an interesting week.
Yeah.
Lots of blocked kicks.
Yep.
Lots of defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think like the most ever in a week.
There's like at least 5 or 6.
If you
Even
count,
not more?
no, I believe if you count the blocked kicks, there were either 9 or 11.
Yeah. So I know there was.
Well, there were 2 by Minnesota by the same guy.
Yep. The Eagles at the end block kicked for the touchdown.
Yep. So did what was the other one? Will Campbell.
Will Campbell? Houston? Will Campbell?
Is that no Will Campbell? I don't remember. There was another one where a defensive lineman or defensive end blocked it and took it to the house.
Oh yeah, I know. I think Arizona they had a.
Oh, that was the Is
that a strip?
the
sack
Tampa.
or-
No, the Tampa game.
Yeah, Tampa had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
know
was-
Arizona. It was like a pick six or a scoop and score or something.
Well, that was on a block kick. The Tampa one.
Yeah, but it
Against
wasn't-
Tampa. Tampa was kicking their field goal and got it blocked, and it was returned for a touchdown. And then Tampa came back and won.
Jets. It was Tampa and the
Yes,
Jets. It
yes,
was
yes, yes.
Cardinals and
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, whoever the Cardinals played.
But yeah, they scored one too. The Jets scored one because they had that. Seattle had a Torrey Horton returned like a punt for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of. If you had the Minnesota defense, you were very happy. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
Same with even Tampa. You know, you were good with Tampa because they put up a good fantasy scoring day because they had scored the block kick touchdown or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even if you played Detroit's defense, and where they
7
had
sacks,
7
on
sacks,
Lamar. Yeah.
and the fumble recovery of King Henry for the 3rd week in a row.
Yep.
Interesting stat line there. So, how did you do this week?
I believe I went 2-2. So one in both of the dynasty leagues.
Kicked my butt.
Yep.
You were the high scorer,
Yep.
so I had a fire sale.
Yeah, you definitely went for it. So now, what was Honcho saying? You've got like 50% of the first rounders next year.
I've got 5 of the 10 first rounders next year, and I've got 4 of the 10 the following year, and then sprinkle in a bunch of seconds and thirds. I've got.
Yeah.
I am definitely in a rebuild. However, I mean, I still kept a couple of my main players.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you kicked me pretty bad.
Yep. Yeah. And I was, we were talking about a trade too in that dynasty league, and then you got the big one, which like I said, you got to do what's best for your team. And when that went through, Isaac, who you also traded with yesterday, he was like, "What's Oz doing?" And I'm like, he's diving into a bit of a rebuild here, and trying to get some value for like CMC. We were just talking. He's 29, and all the the big injuries that he's had, and it's how much value is if you waited until next year,
I
the
wouldn't
value
get it.
tanks. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And if anything happens to him, I mean, he's probably got 2 years left, this year and next. Maybe some value beyond there. It's hard to tell. I mean, the big question is, can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
And then in that trade, I also traded away Lamar.
Yep.
And, yes, Lamar is considered the top fantasy back for Superflex.
Yep.
I mean, quarterback.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's getting older. His style of play makes it such that who knows how much. And I came away with three players.
Yeah.
I mean, not great players.
Yeah, you traded one away.
Yeah.
Right away in that trade.
Right.
So.
And I mean, it was Devonta Smith, it was Hawkinson, and it was Stafford. And so Stafford brought me a serviceable QB back because we do Superflex. And, beyond that, it was Devonta I flipped. Hawkinson, well, I've got Pitts, Hawkinson, and Kraft, so I'll probably try and trade one of those and come away with a decent draft pick for him. And to think that, it's not like I didn't get Honcho's first-round pick.
Yeah, he had so many firsts from other teams.
He didn't even have his first-round pick. Yeah. So I got guys who are going to finish in the bottom 5.
Yeah.
So including mine, I'm going to have probably 3 or 4 of the first 5 picks.
Yep.
And then another pick.
Yep.
So it's not like, because I ended up with Isaacs, and Isaac will either have the last or the second to last or maybe the third to last pick.
He'll definitely be in the
And when he was trying to trade with me, he's like, well, you're getting this pick. And I said, you can't treat that as a future first and second or first rounder. No. It's next year's is a late first rounder. It's not. You can't throw it out there and say the value is a mid-third rounder. No, or first rounder. It's a late first rounder. And well, we don't know that. Well, we can pretty much guess what it's going to be.
Roster,
right. Yeah. I know where it's going to be approximately. Yep. So, and the same thing with Honcho. He's like, well, this is going to be a top 3 pick. I said, right now the guy is in 5th or 6th place. You can't treat it as right. You can't treat it as knowing where it's going to be. Yep. So go ahead. Finish.
Sorry. So 2 and 2. So won both the dynasty leagues. And then in the Yahoo leagues, the one I'm in with you, I'm now 0-3 in that one. We were just talking.
Isaac.
We were just talking. You lose. I had the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack, and that obviously completely fell apart because Burrow, the Bengals refused to protect him. But look at all these shiny toys we got. Right.
We've got 2 great receivers, a great QB, but.
Yeah, nobody to protect him.
Right.
And then in the other Yahoo league, I'm 1-2 there, but team showing a little bit of heart in that one. I was just honestly this week I was just happy I beat my projection. So again, the Jamar Chase, and this week's gonna stink.
You have Jamar in both of them?
Yeah, I do. So this week's gonna stink too for Jamar because they got Denver, so he's gonna get shut down by Surtain, and
and he got shut down last week, and
it was more. He still had. I mean, he had like 6 or 7 targets.
Right.
But the targets were so bad from Brownie, and, half of those went to the other team. So, since he's got to do something, because they're talking Burrow could come back towards the end of the year, like December or something they were talking about, I think is kind of the time frame. So, but if they're, I don't even know, are they 2-1 now?
2-1.
2-1, if they're 2-8 at that point or something like that.
Oh, it would be longer than that. Yeah,
or whatever. They're gonna. They're just gonna tell him wait.
For fantasy purposes, he wouldn't come back until sometime during the playoffs.
Yeah. So
or right around.
Last
week
night
13, 14, 15.
Yeah, last night I tried to flip Jamar for JSN in that Yahoo league with the guy who's 0-3. So he thought about it for a while, but then ultimately rejected it. So, yeah.
I mean,
I told him I'm like, inject a little volatility. I know JSN's been your most consistent guy, but man, you're 0-3. I'm only 1-2. That's not much better. But
it's not like you're giving away. And to think that people are actually talking about, because in my league that I've been in for 30 plus years, Jamar went first.
Yeah.
And I've said, obviously you can't control injuries, but at the same time, when you're in a 16-team, 2 running back league,
Yeah.
this is the importance of going running backs first and second. And we were talking about that a little bit. I went Gibbs and Chuba Hubbard, and my wide receivers are Pickens and Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
Horrible. However, I had the foresight to pick Addison and Brandon Ayuk in the event that, well, Addison will be back, I believe, this week, and Ayuk could be back in week 6, and they could be major upgrades from the wide receivers that I drafted.
Yep.
I still have, outside of an injury, I still have 2 very good running backs in that league. He has okay running backs, and now he doesn't. I mean, he still has Jamar Chase.
Yep.
But Jamar Chase has lost so much value without a quarterback there.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, he could have weeks that are still, because a lot of what he did
last week
was with Browning.
Yeah, and he had a monster week because he had like 14 targets, like crazy targets and stuff, which that's going to be the recipe if the Bengals want to win enough games to make it that if Burrow is going to come back late in the season, just for the team, not fantasy purposes, but just for the team, that's what they need to do.
Right.
They just need to hyper target him. T. Higgins had 1 catch for 15 yards last week or something like that. It was that was real bad,
Yeah.
So they just need to, and then Chase Brown's been horrible too because, he's not getting nearly as much work as he was when Burrow was there.
Right.
So, yeah,
Well, and they got behind, and they just,
yeah.
I mean, you get behind in a game, and you have to work at throwing the ball to try and get back into the game. Chase Brown loses all those touches.
Yep.
I went 2-1. I am now 1-2 in our dynasty.
Yep.
And like we said, traded away. I didn't trade away that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I did in the sense that I gave up Lamar and CMC, and then in my other trade, I gave up Devonta, who I had picked up in that first trade, and Kamara and Daniel Jones.
Was Kamara in that?
Yeah, Kamara was in that trade.
Oh, okay.
I think he wanted. I don't know who he wanted.
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted Devonta Smith.
Well, he was, and like I said, I was talking with Isaac because his first sentiment was, basically we wanted to, I think it was when we both started in the league, we were like, how the hell does this guy get this team? Because his roster's stupid.
And you saw,
and it's even more dumb now, but so we wanted to put a trade embargo on him and just shut it down.
But the funny thing is,
at the same time, like I said, like you and I were texting, and I was like, you got to do what's best for your team, for your roster.
right?
Yes, it sucks that he's getting 2 more major pieces for his roster, but at the same time, you don't want to shoot your own self in the foot when the value's there.
Right. Well, and the fact that he had all of those first round draft picks.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going to be able to rebuild.
Yeah.
On top of, so I've taken away, I mean, I don't believe he has a draft pick in the next 2 years. 0.
Oh, wow.
I believe he traded the rest of his draft capital to me.
Gotcha.
In addition to those 3 players to get 2 players.
Yeah.
So I subtracted 5 players from my team. 4 really, because Devonta Smith came back in a trade. And it was CMC, Kamara, Daniel Jones, and who was the other one I said? Devonta, Daniel Jones, Kamara, CMC. Oh, and Lamar.
Yeah.
So you get rid of Lamar, Kamara, CMC, and Daniel Jones, who, and people are like, last year, you're keeping Daniel Jones? I said, Daniel Jones isn't a bad QB. Daniel Jones is in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I mean, he looks like a stud now.
Yeah. Yeah. He does. I picked him up in the main Yahoo league. Excuse me. I mean, I've got Bo Nix as my starter, and this week they were basically this within a point of each other for score. And this week too, I'm looking at it going, I mean, Bo Nix has Cincinnati. So I'm going with Bo Nix this week because their defense is horrible. So I should have a good week out of him.
Their offense is horrible, so who knows how much.
Well, that too. That's the reservation I have with Nix is how much is he going to actually have to do,
right?
And then Daniel Jones, I believe they're playing the Chargers, which they should have to put up points.
Tough matchup.
The Chargers' defense is also very good, so
right.
I'm kind of stuck in that one a little bit, So, but yeah, I mean Jones is. I think what helps him is he finally has the talent around him, and he's got the Colts line is good.
Yes.
So he's got the protection and the weapons that he doesn't have to solely do it himself.
Right.
And
he looks completely different.
Yeah.
And they punted for the first time all season in the second quarter.
Yeah, something like that.
Of week 3. Yeah.
So, he looks, like you said, he looks completely different because he's comfortable. He knows he doesn't have to, play Superman, really.
Right.
I mean, like I said.
And he's not running for his life.
Well, that too.
Which is normal for the
he had these
Giants.
monster weeks in New York here and there, but that's because he'd have like 100 yards rushing and a touchdown because he was getting murdered in the backfield. So he'd had to run. Here he can play. He's got, like I said, all the nice weapons. Jonathan Taylor, to me, looks like the best running back in football right now.
Yeah.
So you get that to lean back on. He doesn't have to, like I said, Daniel Jones doesn't have to go out and win a game for the Colts when JT is doing that. And, it's just a little extra on top. It's not, he just seems lighter out there, because he doesn't have that mental weight of being like, gosh, I got to go out and win this game, So
I'm going to end up 1-14 or 1-13 in that league, more than likely. I'm going to do. I mean, at this point, I might as well do all I can to tank for Tua. Wait, I mean,
everybody was trying to tank for Arch, but. He's been horrible.
Well, I don't think he's coming back out this year anyway.
Yeah, he shouldn't with the tape he's been putting out this season in the games against legit college teams.
Right,
he's been horrible.
Well, and that's the thing that is so, people look at these players in college and they go, this guy is going to be a stud. Marvin Harrison Jr. All of these guys that Travis Hunter, blah, blah, blah. They do it against, for the most part, you think about college football and how many hundreds of teams there are.
Yeah.
And there are fewer in the FBS, but still, that talent pool is completely, washed out for the most part. There are some good teams, if you were to go up against Georgia or, certain team, Ohio State, every week, that caliber and put up those kinds of numbers, then you're a stud. Mm-hmm. But you get to the NFL and all 32 teams are, I don't want to say all of them are great, but there's only 32 teams. Yeah. There's only 64 starting cornerbacks. There's, you have to look at it from a realistic perspective, and people don't. They automatically go, this guy's going to be a stud. And then the guy doesn't turn into a stud. And why isn't he a stud? He's a big old, bum.
Yeah. Well, that's the Marvin Harrison Jr. one is, he had 2 really bad drops this week, and the one should have been a monster touchdown. That one where he was wide open in the middle.
Okay, I didn't say that.
Yeah, it was almost like a post or something, and he flattened it out, so it was more of a deep crosser, and Kyler hit him right in the numbers. Marv, he had to, he stopped, turned, hit him right in the numbers, and he whiffed it and dropped it, but there was nobody around him, and he could have took off. It would have been a monster touchdown. So
yep.
I don't know if it's a mental thing, because we know that he's got the physical talent, and he was amazing at Ohio State. So is it a mental thing going on right now? Kyler also isn't the best on any given week either.
Right.
But, it's just
Yeah, I don't
seems like
think
a
that's
lack of
necessarily the
try.
best
Yeah,
situation for him,
Yeah.
environment for him. But you have to
Yeah.
go in and make it work if you're going to be a
Yeah.
fantasy stud or a
Yeah.
football stud.
Yep.
In my other two leagues, I said I went 2-1. I was 1-2. I lost in the other league that you and I are
Yeah.
in by 6 points. My defense took a dump. I should have played Caleb Williams instead of Lamar because Caleb
Yeah,
went off.
nobody's doing that. Though.
Right, especially going against Detroit, where
Yeah.
you're going to be scoring points.
Yep.
I mean, he had a decent week, but
Yeah.
Caleb Williams put up 40 in our league,
Yeah.
and I would have won.
Yep.
I'm still in a tie for first place.
Yeah.
And in the 32-year plus league, I am 3-0, highest point total. And like I said, I've got players coming back
Yep.
that make it possible that, I mean, if Ayuk and Addison come back, and then like I said, I've got Joe Mixon.
Yep.
Joe Mixon was, I mean, it was just a dart throw.
Yeah.
It was, I've already got 2 stud running backs. I've got Byshel Tootin as my backup for bye weeks.
Yep.
He's serviceable. If Mixon were to come back,
Yeah.
I might have a problem.
Yeah.
A good problem.
Yeah.
Not a bad problem.
Yep.
So let's move on to our injuries. James Conner out for the year with an ankle injury, apparently
Yeah,
gruesome.
It was pretty nasty.
I didn't see it, didn't want to see it. Once they said it was gruesome, I was like, I've seen too many of those gruesome.
Yeah. It was
Injuries.
It was ugly, and that sucks because James Conner is one of those guys. I don't think anybody dislikes James Conner.
Right.
He's just one of those guys that everybody's like, yeah, good guy, good player. Obviously now that's if you've got Trey Benson, congratulations. I think he's going to be great. I
tried to trade for him last week.
Last year I traded Kamara, and I got Trey Benson and a second back. Because last year I thought Benson was going to be more involved than he was.
Right.
And looking for the future. And I figured Kamara was going to be about done. But then that was last year was the week before he put up like those 4 touchdowns on Dallas.
Yeah.
So that was, I was like, crap. But, so now, I have Trey Benson in the other dynasty, the one that I'm in with Nick, and him and I were texting because then before the season started, I traded with him and I got James Conner.
Oh, okay.
From him, and or not James Conner, sorry, James Cook.
Oh,
James
yeah.
Cook, yeah. So he was texting me, and he's like, "What are the odds I trade you 2, RB1s? Like that'd be crazy." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, Benson was a kind of a wait and see. I liked him coming out of college, and and then he goes to Arizona, and you're like, oh, that's not
Not
a
ideal.
great spot, but maybe it is because he got a good year to sit and learn and watch Connor. So
Well, it's kind of like Ray Davis. I mean,
yeah,
they think that he has all the skills.
yeah. Well, James Connor's been probably
now you're
the
behind
second best running back in football so far, besides behind JT. So yeah. But,
So moving on, he'll be out for the season. He's having surgery.
yeah, DeMarcado's he'll be the number 2 behind Benson, so he could have some value too if you're really hurting and need somebody.
Yeah, I am. I bought up for him in our dynasty.
Yep.
Just so I have running backs.
Somebody-
I mean, I didn't get any. Did I get any running backs back?
No.
I didn't get any running backs back. So I took out my number 1 and my number 2, and my number 3 is Travion Henderson. And
Hopefully, Vrabel will pull his head out of his butt after
But
the
but
3
you start
fumbles by the other 2 running backs.
you start 3 running backs.
Yeah.
And I've got 1 borderline starter.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy. I'm glad that Quinshawn is now playing because So he was my 3rd in our league there. Yeah.
Next up, we've got Colston Loveland, who hasn't looked great anyway, out with the hip day to day.
Yeah, like I said, that's why, when they took him over Warren, I'm glad they did because I think Tyler Warren would be in the same position because there's just so many
Mouths to feed.
We saw, DJ Moore has been fading into the background, and I think that it would be a decent hit they would take, but I could see them trying to trade him potentially, as the deadline starts creeping up.
Yeah. Well, Burden looked at.
Yeah, I mean,
much
he only
better
had
this
three.
week.
It was 3 targets, but it was 3 catches for like 110 and a touchdown or something like that.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Yeah, so he's getting, because he was hurt, in the end of college into the off season, so
Right.
he's working his way in, and
Yep.
he looked really good. I mean,
Yeah.
they were using DJ Moore had like 5 carries out of the backfield.
Yeah.
So I think they're starting to phase him out. Dunze had a good week, could have had a monster week, but they missed on I think it was the second touchdown. So,
Yeah, Dunze looks like
legit,
the real deal.
So yeah, Loveland. I mean, if he wasn't already on the waiver wire, he definitely probably is now, and pretty much every single outside of a dynasty,
Right, right.
But yeah, so
Next up, we've got CeeDee Lamb. Ankle injury, high ankle sprain is what they had said, out 2+ weeks.
yeah.
Now, if you ask CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah,
CeeDee Lamb's playing this week.
Yep. I think
Against the
even
Packers.
Jerry Jones said that there was a chance, but it's Jerry Jones, so you can't. Yeah, yeah. With those high ankle sprains, you're either you miss 0 time or you miss like 3 to 4 weeks with it. There's really no in between. So
Yep. Next up, Alec Pierce, concussion. He's in the protocol, which, I mean, he's been putting together decent numbers.
yeah, he was gonna have. I think he was gonna have a really big week this week, because I actually have him in one of the I think in our league in the dynasty, and he was over 100 yards. The catch that he had on it was Daniel Jones took a deep shot on him, and he went up and contested with the DB. He got it, and when he came down, just I think his shoulder. I thought maybe he snapped his collarbone
Yeah.
the way he came down,
Yep.
but then so now obviously he's fine there. But the concussion, I mean, he looked like he was pretty out of it. When they
Yeah. Next up, Diami Brown, shoulder, unknown how much time he'll be out. He's seen some plays.
He's been fairly involved with Jacksonville, so hopefully this will, whatever's going on with BTJ, if Diami misses some time, maybe that'll get BTJ back on track. Travis Hunter has been underwhelming for
Very much
fantasy.
so. I've seen him dropped
Yeah,
in leagues.
yeah. I wouldn't drop him, but definitely you can't start him. So
Depending upon how deep the league is.
yeah,
And,
but
I mean,
even then,
in our 10-team Yahoo, I mean, I just picked up Olave, and
Yeah.
last week I picked up Keenan Allen, and I mean, when you have a waiver wire that looks like ours does,
Yeah.
versus a 16-teamer where although I don't know that Diami Brown is on a team there either.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got Michael Mayer, concussion protocol.
that one was one of those scary ones where the arms go out and they're stiff. It was on a kickoff. They were kicking off, and he came down, and I don't know if he caught a knee or something, but all of a sudden you just see him fall, and he's facing, and the arms go out, and he kind of is shaking a little bit, and like 5 people immediately turn to the sideline, and they're like, get out here. So he'll probably miss at least a week,
Yeah.
I would imagine, if not more.
Nice spelling on that next one. That's supposed to be Najee Harris, out for the season. Tore his Achilles. Tough break.
Yep, but then Hampton,
Oh yeah,
he finally gave you a week that you were expecting out of him, and that should be
his
pretty
backfield.
close to what you're getting every week from him. Najee, that's kind of he's kind of not quite to the Eckler, the age, but Harris, with the Achilles, that's really a 2-year.
Yeah,
The next year you're done.
right.
The second year you start, is when you kind of start getting back to form.
Right, you don't have the burst and the
Yeah, but Najee also, I mean, he's been in the league for a bit, a lot of usage, that one's tough. I mean, and he was only on a 1-year deal with the Chargers.
was he?
Yeah. So, he'll probably end up as a backup somewhere else, I imagine, maybe, but it's going to be, like I said, probably 2 years before he sees any action on a field again.
Right.
So
That's tough.
yeah.
Tyrone Tracy Jr. shoulder injury day to day.
Yeah, I mean, he was the starter for the first 2 weeks, really. I mean, even this week until he, this last on week 3 until he got hurt. And then Cam Scadaboo came out and had a huge
Right.
game. And, that dude loves some contact. So I'm sure there'll probably be a week he misses for a concussion at some point. Because he just, I mean, that dude, but it's also one of those where it's like if you bring the hit, you're usually fine.
Right.
So maybe that's what, I don't think there's a lot of thought that goes in that guy's head when he's running the football, but, maybe that's what he thinks is if I bring the hit, I'll be fine. But
Yeah, so much of it is instinctual.
Yeah.
That, you don't, there's no, there,
Yeah.
it's kind of like my wife has always said to me, when you're out there pitching in unlimited arc softball, do you hear the crowd? Do you hear the, I said, I don't hear a thing that's going on. I said, you tune it out.
Yep.
And you're doing what your body knows to do.
Yep.
I'll slide headfirst into a bag at my current age, and people look at me and they go, "Are you aware that you're over 60?" And I say, "Yeah. Why? What's the problem?" "Well, you slid headfirst." And I said, "Yeah, it just happens."
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't go, "Oh, I think I'm going to slide headfirst." You just don't have the time.
Yep.
So guys like that, they play hard.
Yep.
And they just do what they're used to doing.
Yep.
Mike Evans, out multiple games, hamstring injury.
Yeah, looks like this is the year he's not going to get his 1,000 yards. He's
Yeah.
only got like 130 or something like that for the first 3 weeks.
He's getting a little long in the tooth.
Oh, yeah.
Because isn't it, how many?
8 years, 9 years?
Yeah, 8 or 9 years
yeah.
of, he's got to be pushing 30-ish years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, so,
You hate to see a great player like that
yep. Yeah.
get injured.
But
and,
he's always, it's been every year he misses time or he tweaks. It's always the hamstring with him. It's
maybe he should have
rarely
gone to the
something else.
same UW doctors that Watson and another guy went to.
Yeah, so, that one, that they're hoping Godwin's back soon in the next week or two here, potentially with Godwin. Obviously, Egbuka is going to be, he's going to just get peppered with targets. I think this is going to boost Bucky even more. They're going to use him a lot more in the passing game. Sterling Shepard, if he's out on your waiver wire and you need a dart throw, he should see, he's going to see quite a few more targets as well. And
Right.
he's one of those guys, too, that will just randomly put up a monster week. He
Right.
did the same thing in New York when he was there with the Giants.
I just, like we've talked about, I hate the up and down.
Yeah.
I'd rather excuse me. I'd rather have 10 points a week than a guy who averages 12 points a week, but it's 5, 19,
Yeah.
3, 21. I just, you don't know that consistency is what generally wins. Yes, some weeks someone puts up some stupid numbers and you need a huge
Yep.
outburst, but slow and steady wins the race in this one. So last, we've got Terry McLaurin, day-to-day with a quad injury. And I'm trying to think of all the quads and hamstring injuries that I've had. And I'm trying to think, quads can be really painful and keep you from running. And they seem to take a while to heal also. So I don't know which is better, a quad or a hamstring. When you're forced to be running, I don't think it matters.
I think I would probably go with a quad. It's the hamstring. Just you pull a hamstring, and I feel like that the pain is much worse than if like a quad. Like you don't really know exactly what's going on with the quad. Like did he get a helmet between the? Granted, none of these guys are wearing knee pads, but did he get it? Is it just a deep bruise? Is it like a full on, like a pull or a strain or something? So I don't know. But, McLaurin's been very underwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
as well. I mean, honestly, straight up disappointing. Finally gets the contract, and like everybody says, he got paid, he doesn't care anymore. Which, I mean, McLaurin's, again, he's like Mike Evans. He's been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And, that's why I think we're so hesitant to give him that contract, because I think he's 30. I think he's 30.
29 or 30.
29 or 30, and they gave him, a 2-year, 2-year with a third-year option or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of money, so.
And it's, here's the sad thing. We've talked about it with running backs who, their careers are shortened to start with, because, longevity, once you start hitting, based on the number of touches and everything, you get older faster, in a sense, and more chance for injury, but they start out in that same boat. If you're a first-round pick, they've got you for up to 5 years.
Yep.
And that 5th year is the first time you're really going to make much money.
Yeah.
And then you get the chance at a second contract, and a lot of running backs don't necessarily get that second contract unless they're huge names.
Yeah.
And similarly with the wide receivers, they're in a similar boat. Their lifespan is a little bit longer in football.
Yep.
But it's tough. I mean, you want to make the money.
Yep.
That some of these guys are making, but the majority of them will never see that type of income.
Yep.
So, moving on, we've got our studs. Trey Tucker, plus 29.69. 8 catches on 9 targets, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rush, 4 yards.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. Came out seemingly almost out of nowhere. I mean, he's out there a lot, but this was the first week he really got the target share.
Yeah.
And then
last year he had some decent weeks.
Yeah. Obviously you get all 3 touchdowns from Geno.
Right.
Because Geno had a pretty good, he had a big week too.
Right.
After throwing up the gigantic dud in week 2.
Right.
Because he threw 3 picks in that game and no touchdowns. So, you flip it this week, and Tucker, Brock with the knee injury has not been, what you drafted him for yet. Genty's been disappointing being with what he was, but their offensive line is pretty rough.
Yeah.
So,
but again, you're playing with the big boys now.
Yep. Yeah. So, and Genty did he said he wants more touches and they need to, really feed him. But again, that's tough, But yeah, so Tucker,
he probably wants, he figures that 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th touch like Montgomery had, where it turns into a 72-yard run.
Yeah, he can bust one.
Yeah. Montgomery's next, plus 19.7, 12 rushes, 151 yards, half of that on 1 carry, 2 touchdowns, 1 reception for 13 yards. And the funny thing is that Gibbs had 2 touchdowns also.
Yeah, Gibbs had a good day. Not as big, obviously, because I don't think he had the same yardage.
No, he was in the 70s, I think.
Yep. And this is the Lions. Montgomery does this every now and then too, where he'll get it'll be Gibbs with 1 touchdown, but Montgomery will get 2.
Yeah. Imagine the points that Gibbs would have if he were truly.
Well, that was the end of last year when Montgomery got hurt and he missed those last 4 weeks before the playoffs. He came back for the playoffs. Gibbs averaged it was 27 points a game, fantasy points per week at that point. He was far and away the number 1 running back.
He won me my week this week, and it was 93 to 86.
Yeah.
So that second touchdown really capped it off. But that's you draft someone hoping that you've got the stud.
Yeah, well, that's what keeps if Montgomery were traded or retired or something, or was injured to start the season and was going to miss, if he started on the PUP and was out 8 weeks, I think Gibbs would be the number 1 running back, if not the number one overall
Right.
pick for fantasy. You
Right.
know, but that's what keeps him a little nerfed. Where if you're in like the 5th, 6th pick in your draft, you can get Gibbs there is because of Montgomery being there. You know, and
I took him at 4.
yeah, I mean, which is I have no problem with, but you know, he is nerfed because Montgomery's still there, and they love Montgomery.
Yeah.
You know, that was last year with. I mean, granted, it was Ben Johnson then, but every single game, the first drive was always Montgomery, and they would give him like 7 carries on the first drive. Then they'd bring Gibbs in, and he'd get him down to the 2, and then Montgomery's back in for the touchdown, and you're like,
well, and I was surprised that Gibbs actually got a couple of shorter touchdowns.
Yeah.
This week. So next up, Luther Burden III. We talked about him a little bit, plus 15.9. 3 catches on 3 targets, 101 yards and a touchdown, 1 rush, 7 yards.
Yeah.
Not the number of targets you'd like to see for him.
Yeah, well, and one of those was that flea flicker they ran. Did you see that?
Yep.
DeAndre Swift broke that play for him because he did the pitch back, but it was way high, and Caleb had to come up, take a step forward to get it. But Dallas's defense is so bad that it doesn't matter, and they still connected, and and he got it. So, on a trick play, for the touchdown, that one obviously that's not going to happen every week, but like we talked about a little bit ago at the start, he's working back from his injury from college, and like I said, it seems like they're kind of phasing DJ Moore into more of a, at least this week, more of like a Deebo Samuel kind of role where he's going to get carries because he's a bigger receiver too. So Burden, if in a redraft league, he's probably still sitting out there on waivers. If you another guy take a shot, see what this turns into, because obviously they what was he second round?
I thought he was a first.
I don't think he was.
Maybe it was a second rounder.
Because he was hurt. Like I said, he was hurt, so a lot of teams passed. He was supposed to be up there.
Right.
So, take a dart.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yep. Next up, Hunter Henry back to relevance in fantasy football.
Does this every year.
8 catches, 11 targets, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He does that every year. He'll have 3 or 4 games where he has basically this stat line, and he's the number 1 tight end on the week, and and then the next week he'll have 4 for 30, and that's it.
Right.
So, but I mean, he does seem, the 11 targets, and again, Hunter Henry's he's always been a good tight end.
Yeah.
Always, even when he was on the Chargers, always been a good tight end. He's solid. So, I think Drake May, with their lack of, Diggs has been, again, he was working back from the ACL or something like that last year. So, he's still not back to full. They had Booty, who had the big game. What was that, last week or week 1 or something? He basically turned back to not really involved.
Back to a drop candidate.
Yeah. So, it's if I'm Drake May, I'd be going to the OC and being like, hey, is it McDaniel is back there? I'd be like, let's run this through. Obviously, selfishly, because I've got Travion, in the main Yahoo league, waiting for that breakout. If I'm Drake May, I want him to go to the OC and be like, let's run this offense through Hunter Henry and Travion.
Yeah.
Let's do that instead of Booty or Demario Douglas, who everybody's been waiting on for 2 years, 3 years now to actually do something.
Right.
An old, washed Stephon Diggs. It just, find something that works and do it.
It's amazing that Stephon Diggs went from, when he was in Minnesota, stud.
Like top 3 in the league.
Stud.
Yeah.
And then, he goes to the various places, and he's been in 3.
Well, his first year in Buffalo, he was great.
Still,
yeah, stud. And then the first half of his second or third year in Buffalo,
and he started lipping and
then it dropped off at the end of the season,
Yep.
and then you hear all the stuff how he's horrible in the locker room and everything. So
yeah,
he's a diva.
Yep.
Having a kid with Cardi B.
Nice.
You see that?
Nice. No, I did not.
Knocked up Cardi B.
I don't play cards much, so for all your younger kids, who?
Yeah.
Mark Andrews plus 15.79, 6 catches on 6 targets, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was, you have him in the dynasty.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I do. Yep.
And
But
did you play him?
No, because I have Ferguson.
Right. Yeah.
So, and Ferguson has been
And
great.
Andrews has
Ferguson
been horrible
is the
for
number
a
one
year and a
tight end
half.
so far.
Is he
Ferguson
really?
Is through 3 weeks, Ferguson is the number 1 fantasy tight end.
Wow.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I haven't. Maybe I should throw Andrews out on the trade block, see what I can get.
Right. So, I mean, it was a huge surprise.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit before the cast. It's like it was a thanks for all you've done for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this is the end of the road because Isaiah Likely's back and you're long in the tooth. I don't know.
Yeah, that one's tough with Andrews because, the Ravens run a lot of 2 tight end.
Right.
So, but last year when Likely was healthy, Likely was the one that was stretching the field. And
Right.
Andrews was blocking a lot. And because Andrews is one of the better blocking tight ends in the league, even at his age. And Andrews is what, 28? He's 28 or 29, so he's getting up there, yes. But, it's tough because he knows the system and everything, and then he is a solid piece, but he's going to be so up and down again, with that, and especially with Likely coming back, who I think they like, obviously long term, because he is so young,
who also caught a few passes was Kohler.
Yeah, and that was the same with last year. Kohler, there was games where Kohler was getting 6 targets and Andrews got 2, and you're like, what,
Yeah.
So maybe they do finally, they try and find somebody that needs a tight end and, a team, and they ship him off and they go with those guys. I don't,
Yep.
Who knows?
And we've got our duds. Michael Penix, minus 12.65, 18 of 36 for 172, 2 interceptions, 2 rushes, 9 yards.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep playing him?
I think he'll start again this week, but I think as
Short
soon,
leash?
Oh, very they're still holding on to the buckle that short. I think if he comes out, worst case for Penix is in the first drive he comes out and throws a pick.
Yeah.
And I think after that it will be Kirk Cousins, and I think it will be Kirk Cousins for a while. They might look at what Carolina did with Bryce last year and sit him down for a couple weeks and say, hey, just
get yourself together.
Clear your head. Yep. Figure it out. We'll get you back out there in, say, 4 weeks or something. Just, get back to being who we know you can be, who he showed last year, towards the end. He was playing really well.
Right.
So, yeah, that one's, to get shut out by Carolina.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
You just cannot let that happen.
Right. Well, at least they didn't have to count on their kicker.
Yeah.
Although Younghoe Koo got picked up by someone to the practice squad. So,
yeah,
he's not going to start right now.
Yep.
Next up, and the funny thing is, Younghoe Koo used to win fantasy games for people with his 50-plus yard kicks.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he can't, kick from anywhere. Next up, we've got CeeDee Lamb. Tough one here because he injured himself on the first drive. Not himself.
That could have been a lot worse than the high ankle sprain.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
His was like rolled up on bottom of a pile almost, and the ankle was looking like it was facing the wrong way for a second there.
Right.
So
Right.
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, but he's tough and.
That was that last year he played through something in his shoulder?
Yeah, the shoulder,
Where
Yeah.
it was like anybody else would have just gotten the surgery.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah. Yeah, he's one of the toughest wide receivers we've seen in quite some time. And he's a competitor. I mean, he wants to play all the time.
Yep.
He wants to play against the Packers on Sunday night. He may be in there. Who knows? Next up, Malik Neighbors. 2 catches, 7 targets, 13 yards.
After the monster week, last week against Dallas, to me, that's a Russell Wilson issue. And that's why now we're getting to see what Dart has. And I think, like I said, I do think Brian Daboll is a good coach, a good head coach. But we talked about it last week or week one. He's just been handed garbage from the day he walked into that organization, and they've done barely, aside from drafting Malik Neighbors and then now Jackson Dart this year, have done basically nothing for him.
Right. This was a team where, you look back at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was the most sacked quarterback for, I think, 2 years in a row. And they've done nothing real. They've probably done some stuff, but it's not enough to move the needle on that offensive line to protect the quarterback and get him the time that is necessary to get these guys open.
Yeah. So hopefully Dart, they'll...
luckily, Dart can run a little bit better maybe than...
Yeah, too. And you get the emergence of Cam Scadaboo now, like if Tracy does miss, some time, you get, like I said, the emergence of Cam Scadaboo, he's, teams have to watch for him because he will literally just beat you down,
right.
So
physically.
Yeah. So I think, again, that's one where, if Dart wants to succeed, I know he does, but if he's going to succeed, that's one that you go, all right, Malik Neighbors is our best player.
Right.
Just pepper him, whatever you got to do, close to line of scrimmage stuff, take a couple shots with, you got to use him everywhere.
Right.
So hopefully that, like I said, I've got Neighbors in a dynasty, and I just hope he just stays consistent for the rest of the season, really.
Yep.
With some spike weeks, but, I don't think we're going to see last year Neighbors where he was, he had 70 targets through like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Like, it was just crazy, his numbers. So
Right. Next up, Saquon Barkley. Didn't think we'd see him on the list of duds. Minus 10.6, 18 rushes, 46 yards. Very inefficient. 4 receptions on 5 targets for 9 yards. Very inefficient.
Yeah. The Rams defense is legit. They obviously ended up losing that game, but the Rams, their front line is great. So that's why, 18 rushes on 40, for 46 yards, to me, that's the Rams, because Saquon, if he gets 18 rushes against anybody else, he's probably double that with a touchdown.
Maybe.
So I think the Rams defense is good.
Not against Cleveland.
Well, yeah.
Possibly not against Green Bay.
That's true. But again, the Eagles, they got down big right away in that game, so Jalen Hurts actually had to be a quarterback and not a running back this week.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened. Goddard had a good game because he caught that touchdown. It was like a 33-yarder. Devonta Smith caught a touchdown, had good yardage. A.J. Brown finally was back to what he should. That's what the Eagles should be doing every week. It's not, this Jalen Hurts with 2 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
And Barkley with a rushing touchdown. And you got A.J. Brown going out there with 2 targets and 1 catch for 15 yards. It's insane. I know that they were winning, they've won those games, but it's just, to me, that's insane. That's one of those things you cannot do, as a team, is alienate your, A.J. Brown and then Devonta Smith, who is probably one of the better wide receiver 2s in the league.
Right.
If A.J. Brown goes down, Devonta Smith is a wide receiver 1, and he is good at what he does. So, that's what it's going to be with the Eagles. It's going to be so up and down, just like it was last year. You're going to get another week with, excuse me. You're going to get more weeks where A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith lose you a week because they just don't need to throw the ball, or they just straight up refuse to. So,
that's if from a fantasy perspective, that is a lousy team to have players from.
It is.
Saquon Barkley was number 1 in one of my leagues, was number 2 in another league. And, one of the things that you have to think about is this jet lag from having touched the ball 460 times or whatever last year.
Yeah.
And they've shown that people do not come back from touching the ball that many times to have another huge year.
Yeah.
So in my book, he was pretty much off the chart for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was not going to draft him in the top 5. Had he come back the second round, sure, but he wasn't coming back in the second round. And like I said, he was already gone by the time I drafted in either of the redraft leagues. So next up, we got Chase Brown. You talked about him.
Yeah.
I have another mistake in my 10 rushes, 3 yards, 4 catches on 5 targets for 17 yards. 20 yards.
Yeah. I mean, the 5 targets is nice. The yardage is not.
Right.
But they were just getting shellacked in that game because, that offense is without Burrow is just.
It's questionable.
Yeah.
Is what it is. I mean, Jake Browning has had good weeks.
Yes, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be similarly to, like we were just talking about, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, where they're going to have huge weeks, and then they're going to go back to being, they're going to lose you a week. And that's the same with the Bengals players.
Right.
Chase Brown that's very, I mean, if I had him, I'd be panicking because, if they get down that big, yes, again, like I said, the receptions, the targets are nice, 5 targets, for a running back, that's pretty good. But, the 10 rushes for 3 yards, that offensive line is absolutely horrible. Excuse me. And if you're not able to challenge the defense down the field with your receivers, they're just going to stack the box and say,
beat us.
What now?
Right.
Beat us.
Yeah. Another, I mean, with Burrow out, another team that I don't want their players.
Yeah.
Like I mean, granted, I got Higgins in a trade.
Yeah.
But,
that's a next year,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I wasn't targeting Higgins necessarily from any perspective, but yeah. Moving on to our waiver wire, I'm going to leave him at the top again. Daniel Jones it may or may not be there, depending upon how deep the league is. I know that I'm pretty sure that in our 10-team Yahoo, he's probably still available. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, because after the Burrow injury, I'm running out Drake May in our league, which was nice this week.
Yeah.
But if Jones is out there, I might be looking at him a little bit. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, I noticed you picked up the other player that I mentioned last week in that league.
Juwan Johnson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Juwan Johnson. Yep. Next up, we've got Trey Tucker. Granted, it was 3 targets. Or was he? No. He was the 8 or 9. Yeah. So he might actually be of value. However, like we said, tight end Bowers, is working his way back from the injury from week 1. Mayer is now injured.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Tucker's out there a lot. It's just if he's part of the plan or if anything, like you said, if he breaks one for a long touchdown,
Right.
So
guy's got burner speed. Luther Burden III, again, skeptical. Who knows what you're going to get?
Yeah.
Although if they continue to phase out DJ Moore, he's got some value.
Yep.
Mark Andrews, hard to say.
Yeah. I would add likely to the waiver wire as well if he's out there. I mean, he sounds like should be back this week potentially. If not, sounds like it'll be for sure week 5.
But a lot of people, if you drafted Isaiah Likely, you're still holding on to him.
Well, yeah. I'm saying like this is like redraft and stuff. Like I picked up Likely last night in the main Yahoo league because I traded away McBride, and then I got Kyle Pitts back, so I just grabbing Likely just in case. Throw him on the bench.
Yep.
Give it a couple of weeks, see what happens. So I would. Both of them are out there. I mean Andrews. I'd be shocked if he puts up 90 yards again, but there are going to be games where he will catch a touchdown or 2. It's just the way he is. He's used around the goal line, a lot. Yeah. So if they get down there, and then with whatever's going on with Derrick Henry, maybe they are going to have to rely on the pass more, this season. So
at least in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we've got Jeremy McNichols. Interesting situation there.
It's kind of a ever-evolving 3-way timeshare kind of thing there because obviously everybody wants Bill Krosky Merritt to get to be the guy,
Right.
But they still like their Chris Rodriguez
Exactly.
as well, and McNichols has been there for a while, and he had the touchdown this week.
Yeah. And I've got Rodriguez in our dynasty.
I forget which dynasty league, but apparently I have McNichols. I don't remember ever.
I think you have him in ours.
Yeah,
In the one that you and
I don't
are in.
remember ever adding him. I don't think he was there because I adopted the team.
Yeah, I don't
Unless
know.
he's been there the whole time and I just missed it. I don't know. I don't remember picking him up and all of a sudden I get I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, McNichols with a touchdown. I'm like, why am I getting this notification?
Yeah,
Andy was
have
on he was on my bench, so I don't know why I got the notification, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Next up, Cam Scatabo.
He's probably drafted in everywhere. I mean, redraft everything, so
Well, I know he is in our 16.
Yeah.
I don't believe he was in our
the 10 team, I could see that. But yeah, I mean, if somehow
I
he's out
picked
there,
I picked up Trey Benson this week
yeah,
on waivers.
yeah.
And Trey Benson, to me,
I think he's the top running back target this week for waivers.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got the yeah. I like Benson more.
But
yeah,
and I didn't throw him on here because it's likely that someone may have already had him as the handcuff.
yeah. Yep.
So, and my last one is Jackson Dart. Obviously has some upside. Hard to say how much upside.
Yep.
Upside. I know I tried to get him because I've got Russ
Yeah.
as my backup to Patrick Mahomes. Now I'll need to find someone else, but
Yeah.
it's in a 16-teamer. So the choices are slim. I think I've got Spencer Rattler that I could pick up for the bye week.
He's been consistently, average, really.
Right.
You know.
And I just need
Just to get through a bye week.
by
yeah.
1 week.
Yep.
So it's not like, I was 16th
Yeah.
in waiver wire order. I was hoping,
Yep.
but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
did you have anyone else to add?
Like I said, just likely
Yep.
out there. Other than that, yeah, there's really not a
Okay.
whole lot out. Sterling Shepard, like I said, with the Evans injury, until Godwin comes back, which
be
could
big.
be this week, even sounds like, but it'll probably most likely be next week for Godwin. I think Shepard is if you're truly in a pinch. This week could have a decent week.
Yeah, I remember I actually had Sterling Shepard on our dynasty
Yeah.
a couple years ago, and finally, you sit
Yeah.
there and you're like, no, doesn't hold
Yep.
much value. But here and there, certain guys.
Yeah,
will.
I think he'd be good this week because obviously a defense is going to go. Well, their only guy left is Igbuka,
Right.
So we got to take him out or try to limit him. So it'll go there. I mean, another Buccaneer would be if you want to is Cade Otton. He's been
he is.
horrible
Yeah.
this season,
which is interesting because
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I look back to last year and I kind of laugh at myself because I had drafted him with my last pick in our 32 year, and after like 3 or 4 weeks I dropped him.
Yeah,
And then he
had
took off.
Yeah, he had a 4 or 5 week stretch where he was a top 3 tight end every week.
Yeah.
Because he was necessary.
And I thought he would do well
Coming
this
up-
year.
Yeah, well, and coming up, now with Evans missing time, Cade Otton's going to be necessary. So if you want to, if you say, like me picking up Likely in the main Yahoo, like I said, I traded away McBride. I got ETN and Kyle Pitts back, and Pitts has been average.
At best, yeah.
So, if you're in a situation
But
like
he's
that-
24.
yeah, it's still Kyle. It could happen, but if you're in a situation like that where you're either just streaming tight ends, if you want to, that could be a good play this week because he is going to be necessary. So,
And he's their tight end.
him and Baker.
I mean,
yeah.
the difference between you look at the Ravens. Well, the Ravens have 2-3 tight ends that they use,
Yep.
and it's never a guarantee that a tight end on that offense is even going to see the ball
Yeah.
with Derrick Henry, with a quarterback that runs,
Yep.
with a quarterback. And I look at Lamar, and I think, I watch him throw the ball. He throws darts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of many quarterbacks that I like the delivery of their throw as much as I like Lamar's. And he doesn't throw it often enough.
Yeah. To me, Cam Ward. You see, I mean, that dude can put some heat on that ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
I haven't
he throws
watched
them
him
on
yet.
a rope too, but he's still rookie, and their Titans offense is struggling a little bit. Obviously, Ridley's been gigantically disappointing. I mean, he's almost droppable.
Yeah.
which kind of sucks, but yeah. So
Okay, well, that's all we have for this week. Good luck on your waiver wire picks.
Yeah.
Good luck on Thursday Night Football. What do we got going?
is it Seattle, Arizona?
I don't even know.
sounds-
I
that
haven't even
sounds
paid
right.
attention.
Yeah, I think it's Seattle,
And
Arizona, I think.
yeah, and after this week buys start,
Yep.
so we'll start talking about who you have to cover up for.
Yep.
Otherwise, I am Ozzy.
And I'm Austin.
Have a great week.
Bye.